World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, sharing information about the financial world, of course, also getting your checkup from the neck up, being able to understand how money works. And of course, we're broadcast through Soul City Network, also through WHCR 90.3 FM, and we're sharing information in the urban community about how money works. And so today, I know I've been away for a little while. We've had a few repeats, but the biggest part is that this tax season has officially been, well, extended in a sense. It's over, but people who have extensions have the opportunity to get their taxes put into place by October the 17th of this year. Hopefully not many of you. I guess it wasn't that case for my clients. It seems like I have so many extensions, but a lot of it is not due to, circumstances, the circumstances. And one of them is the fact that a lot of companies were allowed to send out 1099s. Those are the independent contractors. Also, even some of the banks were able to send out and brokerage firms send out confirmations late. And therefore, it made it difficult for individuals to get their taxes done in a timely fashion, which would have been April the 18th. So don't feel so bad, but just get yourself in and don't wait till October 18th to try to get taxes done. Not a good situation. You want to get it done as soon as possible. And because again, you want your refunds. Now, if by chance you have a refund coming, this is the last period you can claim for your 2019 refunds. You do not want to lose that because the IRS does not give money back to you after 3 years. So make sure you get that done immediately. And also, they're moving slow. So therefore, if you have filed a paper return, because I know in our community, unfortunately, parents have a tendency to battle for children as deductions. They don't battle as much as when they're paying for the child expenses, but they do battle as far as the deductions are concerned. So in that, sometimes one of the parents winds up filing a paper return because the other one has claimed and not legitimately claimed the dependent. Well, if that's the case, just put you on warning that it takes approximately up to 16 weeks for them to process, IRS to process a paper return. So you have to be very patient if you're waiting for the refund. I'm hoping no one out there is waiting with bated breath to get their refund. Reason being is that you should look at it from a standpoint that a refund is basically getting money back that you should have had all year long. And so therefore you should adjust and see an accountant so that you can adjust your withholding so you can get your money during the year as opposed to getting this big refund at the end of the year. Just a suggestion, you know. And so, of course, I want to add in that, you know, we always believe that how money works is important. And so we do have the books, the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. And both of them are, one is in Spanish. Whoops, wrong hand. One's in Spanish and one's in English. If you'd like to get the book, all you have to do is send us an email at anajenterprisesinc@gmail.com, and we will make sure that it goes out. Now, be patient because it's sent through media mail, but you do get it. I've gotten some wonderful calls. It took a while. Matter of fact, it took most of the month of April to get the books to individuals, but it did arrive, and I'm hoping these people are reading it. Some are calling me to tell me how they're excited about the book. It is free 99, even though on Amazon it's almost $20 to get the book. But we felt that it was necessary, at least my office feels that it's necessary that you have this book to get started in your financial education. To do so, read the book, get the book, ask for it, and I will make sure it sends to you with no obligation. I am not coming back and saying, okay, now you have to do business with us. That's not what the purpose is. The purpose is to bring financial literacy to the urban community and to educate and build in our community so that we produce millionaires that can honestly understand how their finances work and that they can share it with the rest of their family and build a financial legacy for our children, children's children to be able to become financially free. So information is important, and therefore, if you want the book, we can definitely give the book to you and get it to you as soon as possible. That being said, also, if once you've read the book or if you've heard us in doing some of our financial seminars, and you would like to have a free financial analysis, again, free. And I know people tell me there's nothing free. You're going to want something back, but that's not the truth. What we want to do is to give you a plan so that you won't plan to fail. This is a crusade and a mission right now to bring financial literacy to our community. We have children that are now entering into the workforce. They were in high school, now they're going to college, and here they are in the workforce. And there's millions, over 76 million young people coming out into the workforce and don't have a clue of how money works. And so therefore what they're doing is, and I thank the administration for setting it up so that they will not the credit card companies have to stop hanging out at the high schools and the colleges and giving these kids credit cards, and they haven't taught them how to use them. It's amazing. I have seen where they get the credit card, $500,000 worth of credit, and then they use it because you give somebody money, they use it, and then what happens is that they end up in debt, long-term debt, because they haven't even paid it, nor do they have a job to pay the minimum off. They don't have a job to pay the entire bill, so therefore it bills and bills, and then it destroys their credit. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let it happen to anybody that you know. I tell everybody, who do you care about that needs to hear about how money works? That's so important, because in this sense is that if you know better, you'll do better. And that being said, also, if you have any comments, questions, you can put it in the chat and we'll be glad to answer, or at least try to answer your questions to help you move forward. So please make sure that you put it into the chat, and our producers will make sure I get it. And that being said, I know that all of you have seen the market, and many of you are afraid of the market. I want to say first to you to know, this is knowledge. Everything we do is connected into some kind of market. There's a buy and a sell taking place, even to the systems of just the supermarket. Buy, and there's a selling taking place. Our lives throughout the centuries, even back in ancient Kemet, there was a buy and a sell. It was maybe determined a little differently, maybe determined a lot differently. It was determined by someone feeling that this is worth something. I'll put that down and I'll take it, and vice versa. But it's still a market. While we were in Senegal, we saw that market taking place. It almost felt like a Cupid doll being pulled back and forth behind people wanting to sell you something because they're looking for the currency to be able to do other things with. But this is some of the basics that go on. So I'm hoping that you all understand that you are not to be frightened of the market, because everything that we do is in the market. But what's going on right now, there's a lot of things that are happening in the market. Although we've seen definitely the bumpy road, we've seen the ups, the downs, the over, out, the market. And it's not that it hasn't done this before. Got to think about the market. First of all, do we understand what the market is? The market is basically consisting of stocks and bonds. What is a stock and a bond? Some people know, some people don't. Some people don't want to know. Many places, especially some the businesses out here, make it almost mandatory for you to be in the market with your 401k plans, your 403bs. And people have come out. I've met some young people who are not even, they try to be in the conservative part of the market. What does that mean is that they've invested in what's called the stable account. That's less than 1%. And if you read our book, you'll understand the rule of 72, and the fact that if you have 1% in an investment, that's not a good situation, because what happens is that 1% divided into 72 will take 72 years for your money to double. That means if you put $1 into a market that's paying 1%, it will be $2 in 72 years. Not happening. That's not going to work well. So we know that's not a plus. Well, the whole thing with stocks, let's describe it. The stock market is this. You invest in companies. If the company does well, you do well. If the company doesn't do well, you don't do well at that point. And it will fluctuate depending upon how well the market, those companies are doing. Now, there's other things like called mutual funds, which group stocks together or bonds together for a certain goal, where there's a money manager who's watching, because most of you work a job. And if you're working at the job, you don't have time to be watching any stocks, bonds, or whatever. Now, just to backtrack a bit, when you invest in bonds, Therefore, you're investing in companies, but you're loaning money to the company. And for that loan, the company is giving you back what they call dividends for it, or some type of interest for it. And then at some point, it's going to mature, and then they're going to give you back your money. Okay, some people say, well, that sounds a little bit more safer. Not necessarily, because if the company has different types of levels of bonds, you could lose your money also. There's always that chance. You can honestly lose your money even in the bank. I hate to tell you all this, but there's a thing called FDIC, and it protects you up to $250,000. As you heard me say, it's $250,000, but up to. So we have witnessed in our communities, especially in Harlem, we have witnessed when a bank can go out of business. And it was called Freedom National Bank, which was a truly Black owned business. And in that bank, when it went to fail, the Federal Reserve did not protect it, and they paid 25 cents on the dollar. So, and at that time, your funds were guaranteed up to $100,000. And so in many of places and churches and people lost money because they only got paid 25 cents on a dollar. So be careful about that word safe and what you really are going to receive and how to protect your money. And no, do not put your money under the mattress, under the bed, in a safe. I've heard it all. And just as a warning, Will Robinson, if you put your money there, there's some things. I remember 60 Minutes showed an excerpt about the fact that someone decided to put their money in a suitcase locked in their home. It was over $100,000. The insects got a hold of them, termites got it, money gone, cannot bring it back. So it's not growing getting no growth at all. And on top of it, inflation is hitting the money, which means that it's worth less, because we're going to talk a little bit now about inflation. And then on top of it, now the 100,000 may be worth 75,000, and now it's eaten up by termites, so it's worth $0. So there's things that's going through your mind now saying, oh my goodness, I just don't want to be near the market. There's other things that can be a lot worse, but the market right now is in that position. If you were getting ready to retire, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years, you probably shouldn't have your money in the market. You should be preparing it in other types of vehicles to protect the value, because now you're going to another stage. And the way that you get that is at least to sit with a financial advisor. And hopefully you have, as you've been listening to me through the years, is get your team together. You need to have an attorney that understands retirement. You need to have an accountant who can prepare you and prep you for your tax situation, because a lot of people don't know that when you start to retire, number one, you don't have as many write-offs, but number two, a lot of the income that you have may be taxable. So it is so important that you sit with that. And above all, you need to sit with a financial advisor that will sit with you and talk with you and guide you. So that's your team, and also to prep you even for the next few years of when you receive your retirement money. So these are the things you need to do if you're that close to retirement. Okay, now let's look at it from the standpoint you are not retiring in the next 3 to 5 years. You should be out there having fun in this market. One of the things you should have fun with is the fact that the market, when it drops, you need to buy in. And when it goes up, you hold, or you may be able to even do what we call dollar cost averaging, which we will do a session on this show on dollar cost averaging, because that is one of the best tools to understand how to work in the market without watching it every day. So I say this to say is that Do not stress because you see the market going. Wherever you are in your life right now is to determine whether you're putting more money in, are you holding, or are you going to move some of it and maybe put it in something a little bit less volatile. But that's all determined when you sit with a financial advisor to help you out, and not to just sell something to you, but to truly give you guidance to put things in a proper position so that you can retire comfortably. Because that's what we do. We work, and then we want to be able to retire comfortably. We don't want to work for the rest of our lives, even though I know some people say that they want to work for the rest of their lives. Well, good luck with that. If you want to do that, so be it. But if not, you need to build. And you should be focusing in on your retirement years to have at least at the minimum $1 million to work with, because that would generate somewhere around about, with 4% taking out, it would really have you about $40,000 in income per year if you work it right till you leave this earth. That would be some people say that's not enough money. Well, think about it. If you were working for some of these companies out here and you were making $50,000, well, then you're not getting $50,000 in retirement. You're going to get a portion of that. It may be as little as 50% or maybe 40%. So therefore, it's not that situation of where, you're going to get all your money that you made. It doesn't work that way. So preparation. A lot of people don't understand how powerful that is if you take, instead of just you go to your exiting interview, take a financial planner or your accountant with you so that things can plan. Don't think I haven't done that. I've gone with many of people to their exiting interview just to make sure they understand everything that is necessary for them to live a fruitful retirement. So when we look at this market and we see the up and down, the key is to see what your goals are and how you plan to handle your retirement. There's different types of strategies. There's as many strategies to this market as there are thoughts, and everybody has a different thought on how they are going to weather it. And some don't even think about it. They just say, look, I'm going to put my money, in something conservative so that it doesn't move. Well, that's not a very good idea, since we just see inflation increasing. Now, what is this inflation? Everybody is talking about, oh my goodness, the Federal Reserve is talking about the inflation, what's happening with our dollar. It's your buying power. And I'm sure most of you out there have experienced the buying power, or the lack thereof, the buying power. I have seen things where a chicken was a whopping $6, when we used to have chickens at $3 or so. So that means that we can't buy as much. We have to be more cognizant when we go to the supermarket. We need to stop eating out and cook our foods. These are some of the minor changes that we can make. This is a time when we really do need to sit with someone, or sit down with our significant others, or with the family, and really start to plan what's going to happen the next few months. We've got holidays coming up, birthdays coming up, and sometimes you got to think about, how am I going to do it? A lot of people eat out. This is not a time to be eating out. And I know that if you want to do it, you need to budget for it. I said that bad word. Budget. Yes, you do have to budget. There's things that you have to do to make savings happen. How do we deal with savings? Because during this time, especially during this heavy inflation, and our buying power is deep, what do we do at this point? How do we budget this? How do we make it through this time? And as I know, I asked my mother, bless her soul, I asked her during the Depression, because she was a child of the Depression. And I said, what did y'all do? And she said, girl, we just put more water in the pot and stretch it out. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We also, unfortunately, have a lot more factors taking place in our lives. It was something similar to what happened to 2008. We had the markets changing, and in addition to it, people were looking for different types of opportunities because their job wasn't just getting it, it wasn't happening. So, what do we have now? We have the millions of people who are trying to start their new business. It can help sometimes, and sometimes it can hurt. We have individuals right now looking at their paycheck and realizing that if they rent, if they're in a rental position, their rent's going up. Here in New York, the rents are ridiculous. I was just watching a report this past week, and here in Chelsea, where I have my office, a one bedroom is over $6,000 a month. Well, if you're not earning that, you can't you can't live with that. And the rents are going up even more so in percentage for those apartments that are rent stabilized. I just saw a woman on television, and she mentioned the fact that she and her disabled mother, they don't know what's going to happen. They raise the rent, they're going to wind up being homeless. But then those on the side of the landlord also have, as landlords have, concerns also. And their concern is with all the regulations that taking place, how are they going to sustain and pay their bills? Because when you're paying rent, think about it, you're paying their mortgage and their bills. That's how it works, you know. And if you have your own, then you pay for your own. But in most cases, we rent, and a rental is really paying somebody else's mortgage, which you could do for yourself possibly. But the way that these tides are turning, I've been sitting thinking, what else can we do to help save these people and stop people from becoming homeless, since the moratorium is gone and the landlords get an opportunity to evict. Well, what do we do with that? And I was thinking, I said, if the government really wanted to help, the possibilities of basically cutting out the real estate tax for a while or cutting it down. Our real estate taxes, especially here in New York, are astronomical. We got $20,000, $30,000 a year. And this is not even multi-dwellings. This is for folks who have a single family home, some in Long Island, some in New York City. Listen, if the government wants to help, they could do that, because that's one thing. They could take that money that is real estate tax and cut it down. I know you got to be able to do some, pay these people incomes and stuff, city workers and things that are building all this building in New York. Well, maybe we could stop for a moment in a year or two and help people to be able to have a home and be able to survive. And those that own those buildings won't have to pay so much in real estate tax. They still got to pay gas and electric and those entities. But how about the real estate tax? Why can't we cut this down or, subsidize it that way? I would love to know why it can't be done, because some things are just exorbitant. You got people earning 200, 300, $400,000. And then you got folks here in New York who are earning as little as maybe $25,000 for the entire year. And they're not even making it, they're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. So we need to think about, what can we do? I heard Mayor Adams talking about some of the abandoned buildings, the school buildings, making them into apartments to allow people not to become homeless and have a workable type of rent to be able to pay. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts out here, what you're experiencing, but I really see this on a constant basis, and people having to go into their retirement plan, paying penalties for those retirement plans just to eat. We've got to do something different. What they say, the element of insanity is keep doing the same thing over and over again. and expecting a difference. This is not going to happen unless we band together and we work towards bringing back our financial freedom. And it can't be by buying this new gadget or buying the newest toy or the sneakers. Some things we just got to sit the kids down and say, we can't do this right now. It's not that we're not going to do it, but we just can't do it right now because we have to save for the future. We rather, it's just, I think it's horrific in what's happening. And to watch the market drop does not have a real effect in most of our communities. It is. The key to the market dropping is, can you add more? You know, can you get more? If you add more, do you realize that if you add to your retirement plan, there's a chance that you can lower your taxes and bring home more money? Of course, you need to sit with a professional to look at this, but it can be done. I've seen it done. And then when we bounce back, and be able to put that money away later, it's just one of those things that we really have to think about what we're doing at this moment. I tell folks that, you look at your cable bill. What's going on with your cable? You got shows that you're not watching, stations that you don't need. Cut it off. There are some facilities out here, not to mention any of them, but that you can get most of your shows without having to pay all of that money for each subscription. Of course, you can always subscribe to Soul City. But those are the things that you need to be able to look at. Look at your telephone and see how many apps you have that have been paying those automatic deductions from your bank account. You see $1 here, $10 here, $20 here. A lot of that can enhance your budget and your money that you're dealing with to have to survive to the next level. I like to tell folks you have to have an emergency fund, and people say there's no way I'm doing an emergency fund. Yeah, but those are the same folks that spend $15 a day on buying lunch. Take home a sandwich, bring a sandwich with you. If you don't like it, but you could have some peanut butter and jelly and put some more water in the soup pot just for a little while to build your assets. But don't go to the level of taking money out of your retirement plan and you're not 59 and a half, and therefore you're going to end up paying penalties and giving most of your money to the government. Not a good situation. The government's got enough. You've got to be able to take care of your home and your children and take care of your goals and your dreams. They're saying today that this is a seller's market in real estate. That's true, but a lot of it has to be because there's just not enough inventory. The supply and demand thing that you learned in school I don't need to know this. Yes, you do. There's a lack of supplies out there, so demand causes the cost to go up. And that's a big thing. We see it with cars. I'm experiencing it now with the cars situation. I was leasing my car, and there's just not inventory out there. And so therefore the prices of the cars have gone up. And so, sometimes we got to swallow and bite the bullet and maybe get a used car or a pre-owned car, if you need the car. If you don't need the car, sit out for a while. Here in New York, we have a metro system that can help you. I'm not a fan of going on the trains. I'm going to stand on it. Seen too much on the trains. But if you don't do the trains, then, you can take the buses. Sometimes, we want to take care of our health. Sometimes it's good to just go ahead and take a good walk, But these are the things that we have to do right now with this market. We have to make a change to loosen up the budgets. And now some of you have received child tax credit money that's inside your tax refund. Put that aside. Just put it aside. Don't spend it. Ask your accountants How much did you receive? How much of that refund was child tax credit? Put it aside. Now, you know, my philosophy is that money should go to the kids in some account to help to build their future. If you don't do that, start to use that as your emergency fund. These are just little tips that you can use to get through and weather through this storm. Now, some of you will be very antsy about the market. There's two things you can do. You can buy and hold, which means you're just going to sit there and let it go through the storm and see when it starts to go back up. Or you can sell. But the problem with selling means this is called a realized loss. That means that it's different than a paper loss. On the paper, you look like you've uh, lost money. But until you sell that, you have not lost anything. But as soon as you sell, whatever you sell, that's a realized loss. And so, do you really want to cause that? That's why you need to sit with a financial advisor and figure out, what am I going to do? You know, again, if you strategize properly, there are investments you can move your money to and then keep some of it in the market, and then some you may be a little bit more less aggressive. You have that opportunity to sit with a financial advisor and again figure out whether or not you need to move. You know, maybe you need to change the strategy. You can get that help, and it's necessary right now. If you can't live with the volatility of the market, okay, then that's when you got to figure out, do I get out? You know, but be very careful. And when you're getting out, if you've looked at this market, there have been some, it's almost like double dutch. You get, when do I get in and when do I get out? Or do I pull out periodically so that I'm not getting hit totally? What do I do? And that's why your financial advisor can sit with you and also your accountant to make sure that you're not pulling it out too soon, you know, or should you wait? You know, if you're in your 20s and you're seeing this downturn, come on, think about what you're doing, plan it and see. Now, some people felt that going to cryptocurrency would be a better thing to do. I can get more for my money. You also can gamble it. You can go to Atlantic City. You can have a lot of fun pulling down that arm bandit and see what you get. That's not really planning, and that's not taking good care of what I call your safe money, the money that you need to have for your future. See, the thing is that we don't realize it, but it's really true. We have a very high possibility of living a long time. They had National Geographic had an article, and it said this baby, and had cute babies from different nationalities on the cover, and it would say this baby can live to be 120 years old. And some people would look and go, oh my goodness, that's so long. And then some will look and say, well, if I'm going to live that long, I need to be able to have money. I need to be able to live comfortably. I need to be in a house that's paid for, that I'm not worried about someone taking it away from me. So these are all things that you need to really pay attention to and sit down with a financial advisor. And again, our office is open to you. You just have to call and say 646-375-2121 and say, I need some help. I need someone to look at my situation. And again, you don't have to listen to what the plan is, but at least it'll give you an opportunity to have some type of guidance to see whether you weather this storm and not, you know, just sell everything and leave it in cash. I'm just going to sell. People do that. The time that you should be thinking about leaving your money, selling it, should have been the time when it was at an all-time high. We just happen to think differently. You know, it's buy, you know, you buy low and you sell high. Buy low, sell high. You know, and definitely, you know, take time and talk to a financial advisor. Outside of that, I say to you, those of you who are opening up your businesses. Now, some people say this is a rough time to set up business. This all depends on what you're selling. How's your make sure that you put together your plan, your business plan, but also you got your team. Because if you don't have your team, you are apt to make some serious mistakes. And as an accountant, let me tell you, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is the fact that they register their business in a wrong manner. They go get an LLC. So I got an LLC. That's good. What LLC do you have? Is it a one member, which is a disinterested party? Do you hear those words, disinterested party, which means that it is just you? Or do you have a partnership? Do you have an S Corp? Do you have a C Corp? How are you taxed? Because that'll make a difference in how you're going to pay taxes. Are you a trust? Is there a trust that's involved in this? These are the questions you have to ask more than I got an LLC. I wish I had $1 for everyone who opened up an LLC. I wouldn't have to be sitting here anymore because I would be truly a millionaire, multimillionaire. And the reason why is that it's more to it than just getting an LLC. There's certain rules and regs and how you're operating and operating agreements and contracts. It's more than just saying I'm in business. I just hope y'all are hearing me because this is a time when we got to get our act together. And yeah, there are millionaires that are made during these times when we have a time of turmoil or that we have a time of confusion. We have a war that's taking place that we're, as a country, are not even in it, but we're watching it. And we have had people involved in it and lost their lives behind it. So all of this is going on while, this world is turning upside down. We just need to hold on and make sure that we're talking to the professionals to get us through it. The other thing is that many people, because of COVID and whatever their objective was, whether they took the vaccine or didn't take the vaccine, doesn't matter. If they lost their jobs, they need to find something to do because our major goal is to take care of our family, to take care of ourselves and to take care of our family. And we can't do that if we haven't found out how to sustain ourselves and keep health and home together. So we've got to sit down and don't just sit back and be depressed or down about it. Be proactive. And again, there are many people who are out here who are financial advisors that are accountants. Get some help. Now, your accountant might still be kind of in a quandary because this tax season was one of the worst tax seasons I've ever seen. I thought last year was going to be bad. This year is even worse. And people do need some guidance and to be bailed out to make sure that they're making the right choices. This is a time that we just got to pull together. And again, if it comes down to the housing market failing for folks, then we got to learn how to live with each other for a little while. It's where grandpa, grandma, and the grandkids and the parents are all in one house for a while. Let's do what we have to do to get through this. And it's not the worst of the worst. There have been times when we had no out. The depression, some people are saying now we're heading to a depression. Well, a depression is basically 2 recessions back to back. And I don't believe they're going to let us continue this way as far as the economy is concerned. We just have to come up with new ideas of how to save ourselves and to make our lives a little easier. I had one client come in and they said, well, we always have a children's night where we go to the movies. Well, there's enough shows on the television that y'all could do that. And guess what? You can also do things like play board games to entertain yourself. I'm just coming out with you, throwing out here how we can weather through, and that you may be financially or were financially straight, and now you're seeing this bump in the road. But don't let it be where you're with a silent killer, where you're not telling people what's going on, and sit down and get things set up in a plan so that you can know how you're going to go through it, how you're going to make things work. It can be done. So I'm going to sort of cut this time with you short. I know I haven't been around a lot. Some of you have been calling, and we've got scheduled appointments for you. We do have a way to have you get a chance to sit with me or one of my associates to make a difference. And please take advantage of it. It's not many people out here who do this for free 99, but it is part of my mission to bring some changes to our community. And we see a lot going on. We see a lot of developers building, and especially where I come from is in the Bronx. It's construction on every block. But the key is not about what other people are doing. It's about what you are doing. And how do you keep things going? If you can save, as some of our grandmothers used to say, is for every dollar you make, if you can save 25 cents, before you know it, you have built up a little surplus. If you save $1 for every weekend a year, at the end of the year, you have $1,378. If you can save $5 whenever you cash in a $20 bill, have fun with it. Bring the kids in. It's called Hoard Your Fives. Do whatever you can to put a little stuff away and change up the way that you've been spending. We know that we love to have the newest whatever, but right now we need to pull together and take what you can to save. Tighten the belt a little bit. And don't sell off immediately. Sit with a financial advisor to see if you need to sell your positions or change your positions as far as your 401k, your 403b, your IRA. Take a look. I know some of them have gone down. What goes down, it will go up. When? I can't tell you when, but it will go up. And therefore, you have to be proactive to listen to the experts and move forward and make a difference. So I'm going to close out. It has been wonderful talking to you all. I hope you learned something today. That's my objective always, to learn something and to be able to make a difference in your life and become financially literate. So again, I appreciate you all. And if you need the book, you want to get the book, make sure you place the order for the book and share it with folks. Let them know how money works. Stop being a sucker. And then therefore write to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com. And if you'd like a financial needs analysis, call 646-375-2121. And I'm Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. And again, this is for your checkup from the neck up. And I'll see you next week, every Thursday at 6 p.m. on Soul City Network. Have a good night.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.